He wasn't supposed to be there.
No, 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 Verstappen, Verstappen, Verstappen. C'è un problema per Verstappen, non so cosa sia, non so.
A 17-year-old kid, no driver's license, no experience, no fear, thrown into the most dangerous sport on earth. 10 years later, he's broken nearly every record in the book and every rule along the way.
Max Verstappen is a four-time Formula One world champion.
This is the story of the driver Formula One tried to control, and the one they never could. Before he ever saw a Formula One car, his life was already built around one. He was steering a go-kart before most kids even learned to ride a bike. Not because it was cute, but because his father demanded it. Max was born into speed. His dad, Jos Verstappen, had raced alongside Michael Schumacher back in the 90s.
Situations.
Look at this though, Jarno Trulli fifth has been caught by Jos Verstappen. Jos is driving a fantastic race. He's clawed his way up from 10th position and he's now going for 5th position.
His mother, Sophie Kumpen, was a karting prodigy in Belgium who once battled with future champions. Racing wasn't a hobby in that household, it was religion. From the moment he could grip a steering wheel, Jos had Max on the track. Rain, snow, freezing mornings, didn't matter. Jos was known for pushing him to the absolute limit, sometimes in ways that made people uncomfortable. Stories still circulate about training sessions that ended in screaming matches, cold silences, and long drives home where Jos didn't say a single word. But here's the thing, that pressure forged something brutal. By the age of 10, Max wasn't just winning, he was destroying kids twice his age.
But the damage is done. Max Verstappen's already got a 20-meter lead at this point. That's add the first round of the 2013 CIK FIA World Championship. Max Verstappen wins it.
And every time he crossed the line first, Jos expected more. There were no trophies on display at home, no celebration dinners, just the quiet expectation to win again. Growing up, Max barely had a normal childhood. While other kids were playing video games, he was learning how to perfect braking points. When his friends were out on weekends, he was traveling across Europe in a trailer, racing against the best karting talent the continent could throw at him. And yet, even with all that intensity, there was something in Max that loved the chaos. He wasn't scared of it. He thrived on it.
It's just unfair. I'm leading, he wants to pass, he pushed me, I push him back, and after he pushed me off the track. It's not fair, eh?
Thank you, Max. Charles, what's happened with Max?
Nothing, just an incident on the race.
That early fire, the kind that only comes from being molded under pressure, would become his biggest weapon when Formula One finally came calling. Because while most drivers dream about getting to F1, Max was raised to conquer it. But what no one realized at the time was just how fast that moment would come. Because before he could even legally drive a car, he was already being thrown onto the biggest stage in motorsport. At just 17 years old, Max Verstappen did what most people thought was impossible. He jumped straight into Formula One. No junior testing, no years of preparation, just a teenager thrown into the most brutal motorsport on Earth. He didn't even have a road license. Legally, he couldn't drive himself to school. But he could drive a Formula One car at 320 kilometers an hour. When Red Bull 2015, the paddock lost its mind.
You were born in 97? Yeah. Jeez.
Critics said he was too young, too reckless, too emotional. They weren't wrong about the emotion part.
Man, is this guy blind? For f***ing sake, man! What the f***?
Max didn't come to learn. He came to fight. From the moment he lined up on the grid in Melbourne, there was a spark that nobody could ignore. In qualifying, he stuck it in P11. Unbelievable for a rookie in a car that handled like a shopping cart. And during the race, he fought like someone who didn't understand the word rookie. The debut ended early with a blown engine, but the message was already clear. Max Verstappen wasn't here to wait his turn. Every weekend after that, the teenager got faster, sharper, and louder. He went wheel to wheel with veterans who had been racing. His teammate, Carlos Sainz, found that out quickly. When Toro Rosso asked Max to move over in Singapore, he simply said no. On live radio. No hesitation, no respect for team orders. Just, no, I'm racing.
Im Feld.
Okay, we need to swap positions. No! Max, just do it.
That moment told the world everything it needed to know about Verstappen. He wasn't a kid trying to fit in. He was a storm breaking through the system. The media called him arrogant. His rivals called him dangerous. Fans, they called him box office. But behind that chaos was something else. Pure, raw confidence.
And like I said in the beginning of this press conference, I got really tired of all the questions. So, yeah, I think if I get a few more, I'll headbutt someone.
Because the moment Red Bull gave him a real car, Max Verstappen did the unthinkable. May 15th, 2016, Barcelona. One of the most shocking days in Formula One history. Just a week earlier, Red Bull had made a bold call. They dropped Daniil Kvyat and promoted 18-year-old Max Verstappen from Toro Rosso.
I'm very happy with the chance they've given me. We're racing for a top team now, so that was always the plan.
Most people thought it was insane. Some said it was reckless.
To change the drivers.
They changed the drivers.
But by Sunday afternoon, nobody was laughing. Because in his very first race for Red Bull, Max Verstappen did what no rookie had ever done before. He won. The race started in chaos. Hamilton and Rosberg, the two Mercedes teammates, collided on the opening lap, taking each other out of the race. The crowd gasped. Suddenly, Red Bull were in the lead. Daniel Ricciardo and Verstappen were running 1 and 2, and for the first time that rookie had a real car beneath him. But here's where the story turns unreal. Red Bull split the strategy. Ricciardo went for 3 pit stops, Verstappen for 2. It was risky. The tires might not last. The pressure was massive. Behind him, Ferrari's Kimi Raikkonen, one of the most experienced drivers on the grid, was hunting him down, lap after lap. Every corner, every braking zone, the entire world waited for the rookie to crack. But he didn't. He was calm, precise, almost surgical. And with a maturity that shocked even his own engineers, Max held off Raikkonen all the way to the checkered flag. At just 18 years old, he became the youngest race winner in Formula One history, breaking a record that still stands to this day. Commentators couldn't believe it. Teams were stunned. Even his own father, Jos, looked like he didn't know whether to smile or scream. Overnight, Max Verstappen went from being the teenage gamble to the future of Formula One. And in that moment, one thing became crystal clear. This wasn't luck, it was inevitable. Because while most drivers spend years climbing to the top, Max skipped the line and kicked the door open. But if his first win made him a prodigy, the next few years would turn him into something far more dangerous, a rival no one could control. After that first win in Spain, Max Verstappen was no longer the new kid on the grid. He was the storm everyone saw coming. Between 2016 and 2020, Verstappen went from that teenage sensation to a driver capable of terrifying world champions. The only thing standing between him and the top of Formula One was Mercedes. At the time, Lewis Hamilton and Mercedes were untouchable. Every race felt like a formality. Hamilton first, Bottas second, everyone else miles behind. But then, out of nowhere, this young Dutch driver started showing up in their mirrors. Fearless, unpredictable, and completely unwilling to back down. He didn't care that Hamilton had 6 world titles. He didn't care that Mercedes had the best car. He'd dive into corners where no sane driver would even try. If you closed the door on Max, he'd find a way to open it anyway.
On board with Max Verstappen. And down towards turn 1 we go. Verstappen on the inside of Hamilton, and with DRS, it's the lead of the race from Max Verstappen. Lewis Hamilton's lead has gone here on lap 4.
The fans loved it. The other drivers? Not so much. Words like dangerous and reckless started getting thrown around every weekend.
Which way is the door going to swing? Raikkonen tries. Oh, he's hit him!
He moved right and then back to left when I was going there.
But here's the thing. Every time they complained, Max didn't apologize. He smirked. By 2018, Verstappen was no longer just the future. He was the only driver consistently breaking the Mercedes dominance. He'd take pole positions off them. 2021 wasn't just a title fight, it was an all-out war. 2021 wasn't just another Formula One season. It was a collision course between two worlds, one ruled by Lewis Hamilton's calm precision and the other powered by Max Verstappen's raw aggression. From the very first race, it felt different. Mercedes versus Red Bull. Experience versus youth. Perfection versus chaos. Every lap that year felt like a fistfight in carbon fiber. In Bahrain, they went wheel to the final lap.
This year going for a record-breaking 8th World Championship. He has been put under immense pressure by Max Verstappen and Red Bull here tonight. Sir Lewis Hamilton, as he is now, crosses the line and wins the Bahrain Grand Prix.
In Imola, they banged tires through turn 1.
It's Hamilton and Verstappen, Verstappen and Hamilton wheel to wheel going into the field of the Tamburello chicane. Hamilton is forced wide and he's lost a little bit of bodywork as well.
And by Silverstone, the rivalry boiled over. Literally, it was lap 1. Hamilton and Verstappen fighting for position, neither willing to back off. They touched wheels at over 290 kilometers an hour. Max's car slammed into the barriers with 51 Gs of force. The crash was brutal.
4 rows back as they work their way, and there's a big crash for Noah Lyle, who's just gone off in that number 11 car.
He climbed out, shaken but alive, and the war truly began. Hamilton won the race. The crowd cheered, but Red Bull was furious. They said Hamilton's celebration was disrespectful. Mercedes said Verstappen was too aggressive. The tension went beyond racing, it was personal. And as the season went on, it only got worse. Monza, another collision. Both drivers out.
And there's Max Verstappen right behind Hamilton into the first chicane. Once again, it's wheel to wheel. Hamilton and Verstappen, and this time Verstappen and Hamilton have crashed out, and they are both out.
Brazil. Max pushed Hamilton off the track. No penalty. Saudi Arabia. Brake check controversy, radio rage, chaos everywhere.
Absolutely.
That shouldn't be allowed, what he does.
Right, so
it's not allowed. It's absolutely not allowed under the regulations. You can't do that.
And he's doing.
By the time they reached Abu Dhabi, the two were tied on points. Something Formula One hadn't seen in decades. One race to decide it all. And then, the unthinkable happened. With 5 laps to go, Hamilton was cruising to his 8th world title until Nicholas Latifi hit the wall. Safety car. The field bunched up. Race control made a controversial call. Only some lapped cars could unlap themselves. Suddenly, Max was right behind Hamilton, fresh tires. 1 lap to decide everything. The world held its breath. The safety car pulled in. Hamilton led into turn 5. Max dived down the inside. Wheel to wheel, contact, and in seconds, the impossible happened. Max Verstappen took the lead. He crossed the line as world champion, the youngest, the boldest, and maybe the most controversial in F1 history. Half the world celebrated. The other half said the sport was rigged. But love him or hate him, you couldn't look away. Because that night in Abu Dhabi didn't just make a champion, it made a myth. And once Verstappen got a taste of glory, he wasn't giving it back. Because after 2021, there were no more rivals. Just victims of domination. After the chaos of 2021, something in Max Verstappen changed. The fire was still there, but it burned colder now. No more proving himself, no more needing validation. He was done fighting for a title. Now, he was fighting to keep it forever. 2022 began like a revenge story. The new era of Formula One. Brand new cars, new regulations, and a clean slate for everyone. And yet, it didn't take long to realize that one thing hadn't changed. Max...
This has been a bit of a problem for these two in the past. No problem this time for Charles Leclerc. Can he stay on track? Then it's just as he retakes the lead. Charles Leclerc, who's won twice in Formula One before from pole, is going to win from pole again and start the season off with celebrations for Ferrari. Charles Leclerc wins the Bahrain Grand Prix.
But then came the mistakes, the engine failures, the pit stop disasters. And every time Ferrari fumbled, Max was there to punish them.
No! 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 No, what happened? What happened? Lost power.
Control over every race, every pit call, every teammate, total. He didn't just beat his rivals, he broke their spirits. Sergio Perez tried to challenge him early in the season. It lasted 5 races. After that, Perez was fighting just to stay on the same lap. Reporters started asking Max how it to form. Not on the track, but inside the team itself. Because even when you're on top of the world, the real danger usually comes from inside your own walls. By 2024, Red Bull looked untouchable from the outside. But behind closed doors, the walls were shaking. After years of pure dominance, the team that built a dynasty around Max Verstappen suddenly found itself caught in drama that had nothing to do with racing. It started with whispers, leaked messages, internal investigations, and headlines that sounded more like celebrity gossip than Formula One news. Team principal Christian Horner, the man who helped build Red Bull into a powerhouse, was suddenly at the center of it all. Rumors swirled about his position, his leadership, and even his relationship with people inside the team. The story spread like wildfire across the paddock. Rival teams were grinning, reporters were circling, and for the first time in years, Red Bull looked vulnerable. Through all of it, Verstappen stayed silent, at least in public. He kept racing, kept winning. But inside the garage, tension was building. Horner was under investigation, advisors were clashing. Even Helmut Marko, the man who'd discovered Max as a teenager, was rumored to be on shaky ground. Then came the real bombshell. Reports began to suggest that Verstappen might actually leave, that Mercedes was quietly waiting, ready to pounce if Red Bull fell apart. Journalists said there were clauses in Max's contract that could free him if certain people left the team. It sounded impossible. The most dominant driver in the world, walking away from the best car on the grid. But for the first time, it didn't feel like just gossip. When Max was asked about it, he didn't deny it outright. He just said, "I want to be in the fastest car. That's all that matters."
There's obviously been so much noise this week in the media about your future. I feel like we need to start there. What can you tell us? What's your thinking for the future?
Nothing. I have nothing to add.
Nothing.
What I said last week. Now that other people write stuff, yeah, that's great, but it's not for me.
All right.
Simple, cold, calculated. A reminder that loyalty means nothing when legacy is on the line. By mid-2025, the team was fighting on 2 fronts, on the track and in the boardroom. McLaren was catching up. Mercedes was rebuilding. And while Verstappen still looked unstoppable, Red Bull as a whole was starting to look human. The once perfect empire was cracking. And inside that pressure cooker, Max was learning that not all battles are fought at 300 kilometers an hour. But even with the chaos around him, Max never slowed down. And when the cameras turned off, the world finally saw the man behind the helmet. Away from the roar of engines and the flashing cameras, Max Verstappen lives a life that almost feels too normal for a man who dominates the world's fastest sport. He doesn't chase the spotlight. He doesn't host talk shows or crave social media fame. When the race is over, he disappears, quietly, deliberately, into a world that few ever see. At the center of that world is Kelly Piquet, his longtime partner. She's the daughter of Nelson Piquet, a 3-time world champion, another name carved into F1 history. But being with Kelly hasn't always been peaceful. The two have faced constant media scrutiny, online rumors, and even targeted harassment. At one point, Kelly had to publicly speak out against the lies being spread about her family. And through it all, Max did something rare for him. He opened up. He stood by her side, defended her publicly, and made it clear that behind the cold, ruthless driver people see on Sundays, there's a man who protects the people he loves with the same intensity he races with. In 2025, the couple announced they were expecting a baby, a small glimpse of softness in a life defined by steel and speed. For fans, it was strange to see the sport's most relentless competitor smile like a regular guy. But for Max, it made sense. Racing had always been his life. Now, for the first time, it wasn't his only one. Off track, he's still competitive. He spends hours on high-end racing simulators, battling online in endurance races and virtual leagues. When he streams, you can see flashes of that same focus, calm, sharp, never satisfied. It's as if even in a video game, Max can't escape the need to win. And even that obsession has spilled into real life. In 2025, Verstappen made headlines again. Not for Formula One, but for dominating in GT3 racing at the Nürburgring. In his first ever GT3 start, driving a Ferrari 296, he qualified near the front and led the race by over a minute before sealing victory. It was supposed to be a side project, a fun challenge between F1 races, but Max treated it like another world championship. Every lap was clinical, every corner perfect. It was proof that even outside Formula One, he could walk into another series and instantly own it. Because to Max, racing isn't just a career, it's a reflex. Whether it's an F1 car, a simulator, or a GT3 Ferrari, he approaches it with the same hunger, win or nothing. He's not just driven by victory, he's addicted to control. By 2025, Max Verstappen had achieved what most drivers spend their whole careers chasing, and still fall short of. 4 world championships. Records shattered. A reputation carved in both glory and controversy. He's the kind of driver who makes history look casual, the kind who wins races not by chance but by default. And yet, as Formula One prepares for a new era, new cars, new engines, and new faces, the question around Max isn't about his talent anymore. It's about time. Can anyone stay on top forever? The 2026 regulations are coming, a complete reset of the sport. New engines, new designs, and new teams closing in fast. McLaren's catching up. Mercedes is rebuilding. Ferrari's hungry again. And for the first time in years, Red Bull looks uncertain. Rumors still swirl that Verstappen could walk away if the team ever stops being competitive. Some say he's already thinking about it, that after years of dominance, there's nothing left to prove. Others believe he's chasing something deeper. Not just wins, but immortality. Because that's what this sport does to you. It gives you the world, and then it asks the hardest question of all. When do you stop? Max Verstappen doesn't look like a man ready to slow down. If anything, the fire still burns. Colder, sharper, more focused than ever. He's tasted absolute power, and he's not giving it up easily. But even he knows that time, rules, and fate eventually catch up to everyone. Maybe the next era will humble him. Maybe it'll prove he was even greater than we thought. Either way, one thing's certain. Formula One will never be the same again. Because in 2015, it wasn't just a young driver who entered the sport. It was a force of nature. And 10 years later, the world is still trying to catch up. So what do you think? Has Max Verstappen already reached his peak? Or is the best still to come? Let me know in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe.